This presentation will look at the definition of a mental health disorder, next the statistical findings of how common this illness is, why this topic is important to me, what the real problem is and the importance of it to society, and finally, possible solutions to reduce the number of those suffering from a mental health disorder. A topic that has been coming up quite often nowadays is health-related issues. It is needless to say the past couple of years was the definition of a global health crisis. However, there are a handful of health-related issues that are not recognized as a concern as COVID-19 was. The mental health issues that have been experienced by billions over the century until date are not considered as crucial or as concerning as what COVID-19 was, probably because it is not seen or heard of as often, but still very crucial. According to the Oxford Dictionary, mental health is a person's condition with regards to their physical and emotional and cognitive well-being. Sounds confusing, correct? A simple way of defining it is that mental health affects how we think, feel, act, and helps determine how we handle stress related to others and ourselves and make healthy choices. A mental health disorder or mental health issue is when our ability to think, act, or feel is affected by a sort of disturbance. There are many simulators that result in individuals experiencing mental health disorders. Common mental health disorders are mood disorders, anxiety disorders, personality disorders, and even eating disorders. Mental health disorders are experienced by all, regardless of their age, sex, financial background, religious, and ethical background. All individuals have the ability to express and experience mental health disorders. The Centre of Addiction and Mental Health, also known as CAMH, is Canada's largest mental health teaching hospital and one of the world's leading research centers in this field. They published a report in 2021 that in any given year, 1 in 5 Canadians experience a mental health illness or disorder, and that by the time Canadians reach the age of 40, 1 in 2 have or had a mental illness or disorder. Another report released by the Mental Health Commission of Canada stated that many as of 1.2 million children and youth will undergo a mental health disorder by the age of 25. On a personal level, over the years, I have found that there has been an increase in minority groups experiencing increased level of mental health disorders. Coming from a minority group, as a second-generation Canadian born to immigrant parents, I firsthand experienced many individuals I know personally going through rough times and battling mental disorders. Coming from a community that is labeled as a minority in Canada, I have seen and experienced firsthand the mental disorders and illnesses that take over families, putting those and some in streets. Over the years, while conducting multiple research papers and projects, I have found myself always ending up wondering why those who are classified as minorities seem to fall into depression, anxiety, and other mental illnesses that are often considered as a concern but never really addressed. Not to say that those who are not part of this minority community cannot experience or do not experience mental health disorders. It's just that statistics show that the number of significant mental disorders are experienced by those who are from immigrant families or those who are classified as minorities. In a sociological medicine report, researchers found that there are about 50% of individuals who found themselves belonging to a minority immigrant group facing more than one mental disorder. Crazy, correct? To add on, about 37% of this population have been identified to be male immigrant minorities. Despite this high percentage, it seems that there has been a lack of research conducted surrounding the promoters and stimulators of mental health disorders in minority immigrant groups. And this is why there has been a noticeably increased amount of individuals experiencing mental health disorders. In particular, the mental health issues that male populations within this group faces. The feminist theory looks at the close difference between male and females when dealing with mental disorders and illnesses. It is found that women are more common or prone to seek assistance and aid when combating mental illnesses compared to the male population. Why might this be? While the feminist theory is a critical sociology theory that explains and examines the inequality in gender-related issues, it is also used to the critical approach to examine the maintenance of gender as a role and how it presented in society through norms. Males are thought to be strong and masculine, the protectors of family who never show weakness. When it comes to immigrant males from minority groups, this stigma and assumption is heightened. The saying, men do not cry, is not just a phase but a belief in immigrant families, as the male usually is the sole provider and protector of the family. Showing many forms of weakness or any forms of weakness is looked down upon. This may be another reason why male from minority immigrant groups are more prone to mental disorder. These patterns are neglected or not noticed in the male population and often are hidden from society. It is often a contributor to gender differences seen in society, where traditional gender roles of helping or seeking help, coping, or social economic status are signs of cowardice or defeat. However, not only does society have biases and gentrification, but clinical bias, which is when practitioners or support workers subconsciously tend to oversee or overlook male distress, and leading to underestimated and overwhelmingly poorly resulted disorder evaluations, often showing that male or male disorders are not as serious as they should be treated. Continue to focus on gender differences in mental health may observe or bring out the truth and bring significance within the genderized groups and show difference between the male and female groups. It will take years to change the outlook of individuals and challenge the norms and traditional views of society towards males and females. But there are many ways to help bring awareness and understanding to this overlooked and underestimated issue. Primarily, educating society about the complexity of mental health disorders and how prone it is to both genders is one way of bringing awareness to this topic. When society understands that this topic of health problems is serious and severe, it can help affect both genders equally. It can help provide service, support, and education. Populations can find a way to overcome and cope with these symptoms as well as disorders, rather than not being addressed, rather than being hidden or looked down upon. This health issue or health disorder issue can be stopped and can be reduced for sure. Providing mental health disorder helplines that offer services in various languages is another implication that can help with reducing the amount of immigrant minority groups facing and suffering from mental health disorders. A lot of individuals do not have a strong sense of the English language or are not comfortable in communicating in a foreign language compared to their own mother tongue. Providing mental health support or supporters who are able to communicate to individuals in a confidential and private surrounding, as well as in a familiar manner, would reportedly reduce the severity of mental disorders and promote the need to seek help and fix this issue. In addition, providing both male and female support workers would help comfort and relief and help individuals communicate a topic that is forbidden or uncomfortable. Providing financial support, whether government or privately funded, would be a huge support as well. Many immigrants cannot afford to spend money on counseling or private therapy or other rehabilitation measures. Providing a separate health spending fund could potentially increase and influence people to help seek for aid and support, and not prevent them from seeking this because of financial restraints. To conclude, mental health illnesses and disorders are a very real thing and a very important matter, a topic that is not addressed enough or researched enough, especially in such a multiculturally diverse country like Canada, where more than half the population is immigrant minorities. Let's put an end to this suffering and become more aware of those around us, with us, and those who may not show it, but really need it. Remember, mental health disorders are very real, very common, and very serious. It is important to handle it in the correct manner before it could explode and take the lives of many. or the happiness of many.